What is going on, everybody? It's me, Ollie, aka TNSAttitude, and I am back again here on YouTube.com for all things professional wrestling. Now today, guys, I said I wanted to do this video for quite some time. I've been planning it. I've been trying to think of the best way to make this kind of video, and here we go. But it is a story time video from my experience at WWE WrestleMania 38 from Dallas, Texas, AT&T Stadium. Honestly, guys, this Mania for me is, well, the whole trip was very special. Very special trip. Very, very special trip on a personal level. This trip for me really did have a lot going on within it. So this trip felt much more like a homecoming of sorts. So this event, of course, was in 2022. And before 2022, the world was a very, very, very different place since 2020. With coronavirus, with a global pandemic, with a lot of things being pretty much shut down. You couldn't travel, you couldn't go anywhere. Travel was off limits. You were restricted on everything from where you could go to what you could do. It was insanity. It really was. And America was completely off. You could not go to America. It was around like a 2-year thing from 2020 to 2020, end of 2021, I want to say. So over a year that they were like, yeah, no travel to the US. It was crazy for, of course, just for leisure travel, you couldn't go. So, yeah, the bans were in place. And then, of course, the bans started to be lifted. But there was a lot of testing and things like that that would then surround Atlantic travel to the United States for pretty much all of 2022. And I ended up getting involved in that, So this is all what came onto this trip. And it was a crazy trip for that, And it was such a trip. There was such a lot to do for this trip. So how did WrestleMania 38 for me come about? Why did I do this Mania? Why was it something that I wanted to do? Well, I'll break it down for you. So usually every year I try and get out to the US. It's just something I like to do. I love going over there. Of course, for wrestling, but other events. I've done Comic Cons over there. I've done different things. I've made a lot of friends that live over there. So I like to try and get out to the US every now and then when I can. Now, of course, not being able to do it for a year and a half was pretty crap, to be honest. It really was pretty damn shit. 2020, if you guys follow me back that long, was when I went to AEW Revolution in Chicago at the Wintrust Arena. That was a bonus trip that I did, and I was actually meant to be going to Dallas that same year for a different reason. It was actually for a Dragon Ball Z event, which was taking place in, I think it was in Irving, Texas again. It was KamehamehaCon 2, KamehamehaCon 3, should I say. And I had done KamehamehaCon the year before, and I was like, I'd like to go again. It was very good fun, and I was going to do it the year after. And then obviously things started happening. I had my flights booked. I was really locked in. And then of course everything shut down because this was taking place in April of 2020. And then it all ended up being closed down because of the COVID-19 and the pandemics and everything like that. So basically, I got a majority of my money back, and then there was some money that was for some US Airlines stuff, which the trip I originally had booked was I was going to go to do Dallas for a bit, then I was going over to Houston, Texas. I had a lot of cool stuff planned. I was doing this big Texas tour during the spring of 2020, so I was really locked in to doing some really fun stuff. I had it all booked, I even had it all paid for. And then I had it all refunded apart from one US Airlines flight from Dallas to Houston, which they said needed to be redeemed as credit. So that credit would then be used on another flight through the company that I have used all the time, is Flight. So for a good while, I had this credit and I was just like, I need to use it because they only gave me a certain amount of time to book something with. And I knew that if I didn't use it, then it would go and I would have lost, I think it was around £150, £200. So it was credit which needed using on something for, you know, a trip. Otherwise, it would just go into the belly of a company. So I very much, for a while, once things started to slowly unlock and start slowly open up, my extension on this voucher kept happening as well. So every time another lockdown would occur, they would extend the date of when I could use it till. They kept doing this. It was just a thing that was a legal thing. They kept, you know, they said, right, you've got another 6 months to use this voucher. You can use it in another 8 months, blah, blah, blah. So the can kept being kicked down the road. So anyway, WrestleMania 38, my third WrestleMania. I basically ended up with this trip from doing a house show. I went to a house show in Nottingham. It was during the November of 2021. Main event was Sasha Banks and Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship. This was a show that I went to. It was an event which took place very much as things started to gradually open up. You know, face masks were just the general normal at the time. You know, we were wearing facial coverings because to protect ourselves, as this is all we knew. And you know, I remember wearing one and taking it off during the show, and it's madness, isn't it, how life was back then. But I don't know what came over me that day, but I remember just being at that house show and watching it. And I remember seeing an old friend of mine, Tom Clark. A big shout out to him if he's watching. And I remember watching that show, and then they put on a trailer for WrestleMania 38. It was actually to say that travel packages were going on sale. Now, around this time, this was November, they actually just announced that Biden had lifted the travel ban. So I was like adamant about making a plan and going somewhere. And of course, the Comic-Con had gone. I was never going to go and do that again. So I was like, I just saved loads of money during this past year. I was like, I've saved a shit ton of money right now. And I was like, I want to go and do something fun. You know, I was, how old was I right now? I was like 28 years old. I was like, come on, it would be good to go out and do something. I've not done WrestleMania in a number of years. And Stone Cold Steve Austin was in the trailer. And I was like, holy shit, it's Stone Cold. It's Dallas, Texas. You know, I was supposed to go to Dallas in 2020 for a different reason. I really like Texas. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. And they said travel packages were going on sale on like a Friday. And, you know, that was what happened. So I remember going home and I started to look, and I was like, okay, then once the packages did go on sale, they would do bronze, silver, gold, platinum, VIP. You know, this is old WWE travel packages, and this is the last year. This was the last year before On Location took all of it, and they ruined it, because On Location just took an itinerary that was once very affordable and was a good bang for your buck, and they made it just a disaster. And now it is literally for the rich, this type of thing. Yeah, so anyway, I got a travel package. I was pretty satisfied. I think I looked on my old invoice before making this video, and the invoice came to 2725, which is an absolute steal in dollars. It was around 2,000. It was around £2,000, because the currency conversion for it back in those days, it was around 1.32, 1.33. So you were always going to gain a little bit. So when I paid with my credit card, it was just around enough two grand. And that was for 4 nights. This it was actually, the hotel was a I'm trying to remember what the hotel was, so I do apologize, I can't remember it off the top of my head. But this included a really nice 4-star hotel in Dallas. I think it was a Marriott. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it was a Marriott or it was a Radisson. It was one of the two. And of course, it included WrestleMania 38, night 1, night 2, really good seats. We got Hall of Fame, SmackDown, Raw. Honestly, the package was absolutely stacked. And I think the biggest thing that made this package so good was the hotel being included. And that really was a massive thing, because once I started doing these events separately and I started booking it separately, you know, you weren't getting the hotel included, so you can see what I mean. But yeah, this travel package that WWE used to put on for their guests, you know, for their clients, it was seriously the best. I mean, for what you got in it was ridiculous. And it also included transportation to and from A&T Stadium night 1 and night 2. So I was like, this is just fantastic. So I booked it, and I also, at the time, I'd not had COVID, and I was very like, I don't want to catch COVID-19 because, of course, I don't, obviously, for my health and for my family, but, you know, with booking a trip, you just want to be careful, and you wouldn't want to catch COVID nearer the time, and you wouldn't want to be getting it and then finding out you're positive before you fly, because then you can't go. So I ended up taking out insurance with a company called Churchill, the nodding dog over here in the UK. And I took out it was around 50, 60 pounds of this travel insurance, probably some of the best I took out at the time, because COVID was so damn rife. And things were shutting down here and there, and they would reopen things, and it was just very back and forth. So you really could not trust things. So I took out this travel insurance. They said it would cover any non-essential travel, non-essential booking. So I was pretty much sorted regardless. Then a few months passed, and you know, it started getting into the spring, which is of course when Mania's time is starting to happen. You know, you go past Royal Rumble, you get to Elimination Chamber, and then it was like, okay. And it was around March of, well, I want to say late February into early March, I could say probably early to mid-March. And I don't know what the hell happened. I'd worn my mask, and yeah, your boy got COVID. I got corona. It was the worst. It was awful. I felt like I died. Honestly, it was just terrible, because I was so pissed about it as well, you know. I was so annoyed because I really felt I'd done everything I could have done to prevent getting it. You know, I'd worn a mask, and with my job, what I do, I mean, I work in hospitality, so I'd been wearing a facial covering a lot of the time, pretty much all the time, apart from when I was eating. If it was on my break, you know, I was keeping myself very covered, and it really did nothing. You know, I still got it, and it was just like, what the hell? So I remember when I got it, and then I had to isolate, and then it was a case of a race against time, because I had to get this damn thing out of my system, because I needed to ensure that when I got to Heathrow Airport, that that lateral flow test would be negative. Because this is at the time what I had to do. I had to do a fit for fly. I had to do an express test, which is what they were doing at the time. These express tests cost £35, and this would basically give you a fit to fly certificate. And I remember the time of it, how long it took to get down to that sort of point. And I remember in the final sort of days of me having it, the line started to get even lighter and lighter and lighter, and it would just fade completely. To the point that I remember once I did get to the Heathrow Airport, and they basically said, yeah, you're negative. I just remember being so happy, like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I just remember being like, this is just great. You know, I couldn't believe it. Because, you know, the funny thing is, I could not look forward to this trip until I knew that I was in the all clear. This is the crazy part about it. I was honestly, this trip really was, it just didn't feel like it was going to be real, because I had no push to do anything, because I'm having this stupid virus, and it was just like, what the fuck? So, yeah, and you know the worst part about it, guys, and this is the most bullshit about, I'm swearing now because it just annoys me when I think about it, but like, the bullshit about this was I paid £35 for this certificate, this express test. When I checked in with American Airlines, and I remember going through, I actually said to the woman, can I show you my fit to fly certificate? She went, I don't need to see that. I was like, what do you mean you don't need to see this? In my head, I said, I've paid £35. And I was like, I put that away, I don't need to see it. So I was just like, seriously, just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And you know what the worst part about all this was, guys? So I remember just watch the weeklies leading up to Mania, seeing Steve Austin get teased, and obviously everybody talking about Cody Rhodes coming in, and I was just like, there's a chance I might not be there. And I was just like, you can't make this up. This is bullshit. So obviously when it all came out that I was going, I was like, "Rah!" I was so happy. And yeah, it was literally the day before I flew, that I knew I was going. So I packed all my stuff, all my wrestling merch, my figures, all my stuff I'd be taking with me, all went in my case, with the idea that, hey, if they still say I'm positive, I still got to come home. So I'm not going anywhere. So that was the wild part about it. So let's get to going a little bit there, but talking about Intermania. So yeah, getting to WrestleMania and getting, obviously, Wednesday was the day I flew out. Wednesday was the day I flew out. I traveled out on a Tuesday. Wednesday morning I flew out, and yeah, I remember going like a Wednesday to Wednesday thing. But yeah, I remember it the first day really good. I remember going to get Weatherspoons, and this was in like Terminal 3, I want to say Terminal 3, but went for a Spoons. Bud Light. I remember getting on the plane and then being like really pushing the COVID-19 law. You know, you got to wear those face masks, guys. Get those face masks on when we got on the plane. And then they came around with beer, and it was like, yeah, you take your face masks off, guys. We got beer for you. This is the most stupid part about it when it was on these airlines. Absolutely insane. And then, yeah, I just remember just like sleeping that flight once I got into Dallas, and I was just like, because at this point, I was over COVID. You know, I was absolutely over COVID. I wasn't wearing my mask. I was just like, I'm in Texas. Everybody doesn't give a shit over here. I've just had it. I'm not getting it again. Not for a damn long time. And I'm telling you now, it was just like, you know, let's get back to some kind of normality. Because this is where I think going to Texas was like a watershed moment for me, because I'd been for 2 years wearing a face covering, social distancing, following all the rules of our dimwit Prime Minister Boris Johnson, and just, you know, thinking I was doing the right thing, when in actual fact, I was doing something which I felt was right at the time, but proved in all honesty to just be an utter load of shit. It was just, you know, the lies that came out with our own government, and they weren't even sticking to the damn rules. It was just bullshit. So anyway, so yeah, I remember Wednesday being, I want to say, was it actually, yeah, Wednesday. Sorry, I'm an idiot, because Wednesday was it Wednesday into Thursday? I apologize, guys. Wednesday was the day that I went to get my test. Thursday morning was when I flew out. Sorry, it shows you it's been 2 years since this trip, so bear with me, almost 2 years. So, the Thursday was a long day. This was obviously the day I traveled. So just remember that, guys. I traveled out on a Thursday. And when I flew out, the whole traveling experience was so damn long. But obviously, once I got in, it was like I got in the early afternoon. And when I got to my hotel, I remember just getting a taxi straight to the hotel. I stayed in the WrestleCon hotel for the first night of the trip. I just wanted to do that, you know, before the package hotel would open up. I wanted to do the WrestleCon hotel, which is what I'm doing this year. I'm actually doing the WrestleCon hotel the whole time I'm going to be in Philadelphia. And I would see Kerry Silkin, of course, from the former Ring of Honor, which was really cool. I got a photo with him. And then I would go in and got some food at Hooters, just because I know there's a Hooters around there. So I went and got some food just before WrestleCon got started. I got my wristband, which would be a gold for the WrestleCon. I was in there all 3 days, and I was able to meet quite a few people. That first day, I remember walking in, and it was like, I'd not done WrestleCon in a long time, but obviously they've definitely improved it a lot in the last few years, putting it in a hotel for a start, so you can put it all in different rooms, different function rooms, which is excellent. And I remember this event because obviously it was headlined by the late, great Bray Wyatt. You know, Bray was going to be there on the Friday. Other great names that were there at the time were Kurt Angle, Lex Luger, DDP, Ron Simmons, JBL, Trish Stratus, Adam Cole was there, Britt Baker, Christian, John Moxley, Hornswoggle, I believe, was one of the, I'm just thinking of some of the lower card names that were there. So, yeah, and I remember just WrestleCon being insanity. Insane in a good way. You know, there was a lot of names you could go meet. And what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to make another video talking about WrestleCon, because I feel that deserves its own video, and that deserves its own sort of time where I can bring up stuff I bought and, go through that kind of stuff. I think this needs to really center around just the Mania trip itself. But obviously WrestleCon was a lot of fun, and obviously, as you guys know, I met a lot of cool people through the time I went. And I think that the WrestleMania 38 weekend, I was very centered around WrestleCon because, well, I'd done Texas before, so I knew Dallas quite well. And there was no access. That was another thing. There was no access. When we bought the original, when I bought the original travel package, there was no access. There was an access thrown in, but then they refunded everybody because they decided to take access off. And then they were like, we will do a superstore. And it was what? I think they gave it to all the travel package people. Yeah, well, they did. We just got it given to us. It was like a $10 thing, which was for general if you wanted it, but we got it included. And they would do panels, which was awesome. And those panels were really, really cool. Of course, Cody Rhodes had a panel because this was his second night back in WWE when it was on the Sunday night. But yeah, so you got to appreciate. I'm trying to get back. Remember this as best I can. It's going for a couple of years. If I watch the vlogs, even better. But yeah. So when Friday came along, I remember going down for breakfast. I remember being at the Starbucks in the Fairmont, Dallas. And I just remember it's insane how many wrestlers were just walking around. I saw Matt Cardona. I saw Christian Cage. I saw Danhausen. There was just loads of wrestlers. Ted DiBiase Sr. was just walking around. Like, it was crazy how many people were just walking around this hotel. But yeah, WrestleCon was good fun, and I recommend it. I do recommend the WrestleCon experience if you have never done it. It's a lot of fun. There's wrestlers there you've never met, go meet them. But you got to realize it is also a massive place where you're going to be spending your money, and this is what they want. So just remember that, guys. And like I said, I'm going to do a proper WrestleCon video to really talk about my experiences at WrestleCon from that year, and also maybe talk about 39 a little bit. So talking WWE, I went to the Friday Night SmackDown show on that Friday, and this wasn't a very good show. They did an Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which I believe Riddick Moss won. And it was really just a recap show to highlight Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar for the, of course, I do have the program, as I did want to just make sure you guys know I are on 38. But yeah, this was the headline act for WrestleMania 38, guys. Of course, the Collector Cup as well. It's right there for you. So yeah, it was pretty significant. But of course, the real reason we all went to that SmackDown show was because for this man, The Undertaker, got inducted into the Hall of Fame. And what an experience that was. I really, as a wrestling fan, felt when I went to that Hall of Fame show that my experience at Hall of Fame had really just peaked. Seeing Taker go in and doing one of the best speeches ever, just talking about advice for younger talent and everything he was grateful for from his time in the WWE. This whole weekend was just like it felt like a farewell for certain talents, talents like Taker, who I don't recall after this event doing the dead man thing anymore. You see him do American Badass, and that's cool, but you're not seeing him do the dead man mystique anymore. I felt like after WrestleMania 38 weekend, he really didn't do this no more. Triple H put his boots in the ring during night 2 of WrestleMania 38. That was incredibly crazy to see as well. So yeah, so I remember when I changed hotels on the Friday and finally got into the package hotel, I got ready for SmackDown. Met a really cool guy named Billy, Billy's a good buddy of mine. I actually kept in touch with Billy. He was in my Money in the Bank vlog, good guy. We actually split an Uber and went to American Airlines Center for SmackDown and Hall of Fame, and then we got back. So yeah, we did the SmackDown show and the Hall of Fame, which was just as cool. I remember them doing SmackDown, and you gave everybody like a half an hour, 15 to 20. It was around 15 minutes to have a breather, quickly go out, stretch your legs, go for a smoke if you need to do that, and then come back in. But yeah, and then obviously Saturday morning, of course, I remember going back to WrestleCon. I met Jeff Hardy, and I also met, I'm trying to think who I also met. I met the Bunny, and I met there was a few people I met. Ali, the bunny from AEW, and saw my good friend Trey. Mr. Trey was there. He brought his European title with him. And I know he met Jeff Hardy because we were queuing for him. And yeah, there was a few people I met. I remember, I think Jimmy Wang Yang. Was that on the? Yeah. But like I say, good stuff. And then, of course, they would then go and get ready for WrestleMania. Had the bus tickets. I remember, like I say, with Mania, I remember just how damn cool the travel packages were. Just being able to go down into that hotel and into the lobby and then say, what's your name? And it was like, Ollie. And they're like, oh, yeah. And they got my surname right there, boom, Harper. And it was like, okay. And yeah, they had us on file, and we all queued up, got on the bus. They just kept sending buses. This is the WWE way of how it used to be. This is, honestly, the WWE used to be amazing for travel packages and customer service in this. It was incredible. Shame On Location destroyed it, because I can't say that enough. They absolutely ruined it, and they've made it now where On Location is just this corporate, greedy, premiumized load of bullshit that has took something that was decent and affordable and you got a lot of bang for your buck to something now which is literally for the absolute sweaty rich. It is just crazy. But yeah, talk about Mania a little bit. I remember going, when I got to TNT, of course, Austin, Stone Cold and Kevin Owens would headline night one. I remember just marking out so much, seeing Stone Cold Steve Austin on the front of AT&T Stadium, and seeing Austin and Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, and oh my god, it was just incredible. And just, yeah, I just remember it all being so cool, not doing it in so many years, you know. It really was special. And it was the first Mania I did on my own as well. It was an independent Mania, you know. It was just very cool to experience all this stuff by myself and see stuff that, you're not saying, you know, but seeing stuff independently was just really, really damn cool. And seeing it through my own eyes, and not, you know, when you're with other people, sometimes you sort of think, damn. But doing it on my own, it was like, wow, I'm really taking it all in, you know, and that was special. When Cody Rhodes came out on night one and that place just went on fire, I was just like, oh my god, I remember marking out so much. And then Stone Cold as well, and they did a damn good job blowing off the roof with night one. They really, really did. And of course, I've got the Blu-ray right here as well. So yeah, it was very good fun. I actually have a ticket, I've just realised, in here. I was in the 11 Risers, 11th row. This is my old SeatGeek. Yeah, SeatGeek ticket. Sunday, April 3rd. So it's actually the Sunday, but I can actually tell you now, I sat in the same seats for both night one and night two. They gave you like a bundle ticket, combo ticket, which are honestly the best. And yeah, you know, those are what are the best value for money. But yeah, WrestleMania 38 was something. I remember getting of course, I got my collector cup, which, yeah, get these collector cups, guys. They're the best. Seriously, I've got a 30, 29, 30, 38, 39. I'll be getting my 41 next year. Great fun, honestly, great momentum. This would be the first Mania that I would also realise that they did chairs for night one and night two. So that was pretty crazy as well. So, and they were expensive. People were not going to shift those chairs. And to buy a ringside chair from the more current events, yeah, the inflation on them things has gone through the roof. People are charging a lot more for them. Because I think they do it because they know that the price on the tickets for these events has gone through the roof as well. So, you know. But then I made a good friends with two guys who actually sat in the row in front of me, Terrence and Chase. Really cool guys. Terrence from Seattle, Chase from New York. Really cool guys. We actually went out after night one. We went for tacos. Really good fun. Chase, they were staying in my hotel, which was really cool. So we all basically hung out. We were all in the gold package. So that was really cool. yeah, then we bonded then for a bit through the weekend, and then obviously night two, you know, we all obviously met up as well after the show, and we went for some food as well. Obviously, we went, and that's right, we went and met Cody, where we saw that we went to that Cody Rhodes thing, which I'll break down for you. So they were doing panels, which was really cool. They were doing panels throughout the whole weekend. This was kind of to replace Access, and that was a thing that they wanted to do. They didn't even do that at 39, which I thought was trash, because I think they could have done those panels again. There was no, they were good, those panels. You pay enough, you pay like a VIP price for them, but the talent, you would meet the talent afterwards. That was pretty much what they were doing. And there was a mystery panel that everybody was like, well, whoever faces Seth Rollins will be at the mystery panel. And everyone was like, it's going to be Cody. So, but I guess all these Cody tickets got sold, and not everybody went back to it, because obviously WrestleMania Night 2 happened, and not everybody went back to the Superstore. So we got an Uber back to the Superstore once we got back to our hotel. And I remember when we got back to that Superstore, there was no, they just let people in for free, and we got let in for free. And yeah, we got to meet, we actually went in and listened to the Cody Rhodes panel. It'd been on like 15 minutes. So we got through the 45 minutes. It was like, this is awesome. And then Cody was like, right at the end, I remember Cody Rhodes going, all right, I'm going to make the rounds. Everybody line up if you all want a photo. And he was great. Cody's awesome. I love Cody Rhodes. He's in my profile photo here on YouTube. But yeah, so we all got to meet Cody Rhodes for free, which was so damn cool and so damn special. And he's literally on his second night back in WWE, and there was no questions that were off limits. He talked about AEW, he talked about WWE, he talked about the reasons why he left, and you know, it was nothing to do with anything to do with AEW. He just wanted to go and do something that Dusty had never done, and that was very much what it was all about. So yeah, no, it was really cool. I remember the Monday, I remember Raw, and I also remember before Raw, we had the Drew McIntyre meet as well, which they included. They announced it. They wanted you to go back to the Superstore to spend your money. So they were like, hey, we'll throw in Drew McIntyre. Come meet him. He's $40. Come meet Drew McIntyre. So went and did that. That was cool. On my way, I walked through the convention center that linked into the Omni Hotel. So it was all one big complex. You could walk straight through. There was a public area. You walk straight through. There was a FedEx office through there. There was this, there was that. It was all connected. And I remember I met a few wrestlers while I was there, which was damn cool. I met The Undertaker again off the fly. So ridiculous. I couldn't believe it. I met Taker. I met Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Dominic Mysterio, Matt Riddle. Yeah, there was a lot of cool ones. I met Edge. I met so many cool guys. And it was just literally like, this is insane. It was all in just it was just walking through the public corridor. I was like, okay, walking to the Cape Hutchinson Convention Center, and I just met all these wrestlers. It was insane. Yeah, so we had Raw. That was awesome. Raw after Mania. Then I would actually change hotels on that Tuesday, because we came out the package hotel, and I would go over to it was like a little Hilton hotel in the other side of on the other side of Dallas, and I was there I want to say I was there for 2 nights. It was literally 2 nights. So I would go back on the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, it was around a night to 2 nights, and then yeah, I went home. So I know I've kind of skimmed over a few things, but I just really wanted to break down the main stuff off this trip. Of course, saw Roman, saw Brock in the main event of night 2. A lot of people really didn't care for this match. It was cool to see Roman win both belts, you know. This was a cool thing, you know. It was definitely something which we see in video packages now, and, you know, this was really the build of the bloodline, and it all really building. You know, it was massive, you know. So yeah, it was a good trip all in all, and I will do a proper WrestleCon video as well to support this video, because I do feel like I've only really talked about the actual trip itself and not the actual, like, the meets, even though I've talked about the odd one here and there. But yeah, guys, also went to the hockey as well. Can't forget the hockey. Did Dallas Stars, which I always enjoy doing the NHL games if I can do them, or an NBA, but it was an NHL game this time around. Good fun. Got myself a ticket off Ticketmaster for around $100. I sat right up in the very top of the stadium, but in the arena. I was very happy with that. But yeah, all in all, it was a good one. Good Mania. Third Mania. Fresh off the pandemic, but good fun. Anyway, that is today's video. I will be doing my WrestleMania 39 storytime video down the road, and I'll be starting to make other videos on the road to WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia, because that one, baby, is big. And that's today's video. Anyway, don't forget to comment, subscribe, and like, and I'll catch you down the road for another one. And remember, guys, WrestleMania 38. Catch you soon, guys.